Hello, I'm Dr. Madhuri. I teach the subject that's important for giving various government exams in India, for various competitive exams. So in this channel, I'm going to speak on various things, and one such thing is the contemporary news, the current affairs, the things that are happening around the world in our country that is very much important for the exams. So to that extent, I would be discussing all the news, whatever we importantly see around us, and that too to the extent to which we need to know it for giving the exams. So the topic I choose to speak about today is India's stand. What is India's stand in or with regard to the war between Israel and Hamas? We know that there has been a constant war going on from the past 2 months or so between Israel and Hamas. Hamas is a militancy group, and that is right now residing in Palestine, or the Gaza to be particular, Gaza Strip. So I also recommend you to go ahead and see in the map where these countries are staying, where this Gaza Strip is, the Palestine, the border of Israel is, and what is the contention about the borders and all. So that comes with geography and all. But I'm going to speak today India's stand about this whole scene of war between Hamas militancy group and Israel. That is the Israel Defense Force, the armed forces of Israel. So we are going to see this. There has been two resolutions. There have been two resolutions. There has been a recent resolution on December 12, 2023, and there had been a resolution on October 26 of 2023 regarding this war between Hamas and Israel. It all started with a terror attack by Hamas militancy group. So that terror attack happened from the Hamas militants on Israel. So that happened on October 7, 2023 of this year. So on October 7th, this attack was given a name called Sabbath attack. So on October 7th, the first wars was started. Firstly, the war was started from Hamas side by bombing or bombarding the Israel nation. So after that, there had been so much uproar from all the countries. Even Indian Prime Minister also spoke about the losses that had happened in Israel because of militancy, because of terrorist group called Hamas. So India was on Israel's side, and every country was on Israel's side because it was a terror attack, a sudden attack from this militancy group on Israel. But even after this much has happened to Israel, very immediately Israel started to fire back or to fight back on Hamas. So that retaliation is what is going on now. The retaliation is so big, so many times bigger than what Israel had taken from Hamas. So with that retaliation, the whole world is shocked as to how big the retaliation is going, and it's going unabated, unstoppable. So we know that it has been 2 months, but since then there has been no ceasefire, no stoppage of firing and all from Israel's side by the IDF, Israel Defense Forces. So the United Nations General Assembly, in view of this retaliation, the huge humongous nature of retaliation by Israel, the United Nations General Assembly immediately took up to pass a resolution on October 26. But India abstained from voting this resolution. So there were so many countries that voted for this resolution. The resolution basically was about ceasefire, to stop fighting, to stop fighting all at once. But India was abstaining from voting. It did not vote on that October 26th, that resolution by United Nations General Assembly. When India was asked why it abstained from voting, the answer it had given at that time, the government of India, the Ministry of External Affairs had given the answer that there was no strong condemnation, explicit condemnation on terrorism in the resolution. So India was wanting for this explicit condemnation on the terror attacks or on the retaliation of Israel, on terrorism from Hamas and the retaliation of Israel. There has to be the word of explicit condemnation. So the word was missing, so that doesn't fit into the principle of India's stand. So India has zero tolerance towards terrorism. So we want to speak anything, and so we are not going to vote. That was its answer when it was asked why it had to abstain from voting. But in the recent resolution on December 12th, again the United Nations General Assembly passed a resolution. But in the recent resolution, India voted to the resolution. There were some points in the resolution. So what are the recent points in the resolution? Even 152 countries along with India voted for this resolution. We need to know what is this resolution about. It is to immediately stop the fighting, immediate humanitarian ceasefire. It is seeking immediate humanitarian ceasefire. And it is also seeking the discharge of the hostages. So to send back the hostages. And it is also wanting to reconsider the humanitarian laws, international humanitarian laws of LAWS laws. So what are international humanitarian laws? So they have to abide with some rules without fighting, without killing, going on killing people. So there has been 18,000 deaths. There have been 18,000 deaths so far, and there have been 90 killings of journalists so far. So all of this is leading to a big war. So there has to be a revision or revisitation to the international humanitarian laws. So these points are written down in the United Nations General Assembly resolution that is recently held on December 12th. So if these are agreed by the nations, they can go vote for this. So India voted for this resolution finally on December 12, 2023, very recently. So India stands so for what we understand by this. Initially, India's stand on side of Israel, to stand with sympathy for Israel, it has shifted now to seek peace and to make Israel stop retaliating anymore. Even if it is retaliating against terrorism, it was unknowingly killing many Gazans, many civilians. So there have been 18,000 deaths of civilian Gazans. So because of this intense casualty statistics, India has shifted its stand or to vote in the United Nations General Assembly resolution. So this is a new change that has recently come up. So what could be the reasons that acted important on India to change its stand from the past resolution of October 26? The changes would be, the reasons would be increasing casualties, increasing deaths, and the unstoppable nature of this war going on. That could be one point. And the second point is Israel has deviated from its original mandate of fighting Hamas militants. It started retaliating on Hamas, but eventually the war is turning out to be a global war or to be a regional war, and it is turning out to be killing civilians, the Gazans, normal people living in Gaza. So the original mandate is deviated from just killing the Hamas militants towards killing the civilians. So this could be the second reason. The third reason is the opinion of people of the nations, and the opinion of Indian people also. So a government's voice, or the Ministry of External Affairs, or a state's government's voice should be the voice of the people. Even Indian public, general public, they are condemning this act of high retaliation by Israel. So based on that opinion also, India should have shifted its resolution to fight for the peace in that region. So finally, what could we expect from India about this? It is a proven friendship between India and Israel, when even our Prime Minister stood on behalf of on the side of Israel when it was taking its worst terror attack. When it was taking the terror attack from Hamas, even our Prime Minister responded with sympathy on Israel, as we are their friends. So this friendship can be used to establish regional stability in the Middle East by giving some advices to the government of Israel. As Israel also considers India as its friend, we can come up with giving some advices to Israel, to the Netanyahu government, the original government that's now leading this whole retaliatory things and all. So India can use its friendship in helping to Israel to frame its strategic outlook over this retaliation. So that would establish a greater security to that part of Middle East and to the whole world, and the instability throughout the world that's coming up because of the ongoing war could be stopped. So India could act in advising Israel to control this. So that's a good point that India voted in the United Nations General Assembly, voted for the resolution to stop the war recently on December 12, 2023. So India could also come up with giving advice to the government of Israel in order to stop the civilian deaths and stop the war, unstable situations, insecurity throughout the Middle East, and thereby the world at large. So this is the topic for today, and thank you.